So we're taking a look at the two Buzz Junior games released in 2006-2007 by Sony. It's Jungle Party and Monster Rumble. So these are the games that required the Buzz controllers that they released. The one with the big red button and the 4 coloured buttons on them. They came in a pack of 4. Luckily I've actually got them to try this game out with. Both these games are practically the same thing. They're a series of mini-games designed for young children and to be played as a family. One's got the skin of a jungle and the other's got the skin of a haunted house. There's nothing too special here and nothing to really differentiate the two. Quick time events, button bashing, games loosely based on sports, memory games, games of chance. That's pretty much what we've got here, and it's just a rinse and repeat. Both these games aren't as bad as I think people think they are. The Buzz controllers work quite well and they're somewhat fun for a short period of time. However, they haven't aged very well. We've got so many better options in this day and age from when the PS2 was released. And the key thing is, I think I'd rather play a board game with my family than play this, so that pretty much tells you where this one lands. Bust-a-bloc, released in 2002 by Midas Entertainment, it's a Breakout clone. It's slightly modified from the normal Breakout. For example, you can control the bend of the ball as you try and attempt to break all the blocks. You can power it up if you hit it in a certain way, but that's pretty much it. Each level has a different sort of element to it, where different blocks do different things. Some of them you can break up and they release other balls, others you can break and they destroy all the blocks around them. Unfortunately, there's not too much here. It is really just a basic game of Breakout. It hasn't stood the test of time very well. There's a lot of Breakout clones that you can play on your mobile device these days that are a fair bit better than this. Once you've played the first couple of levels, it's pretty much just the same thing going forward. There's not really too much I can say about this one. I've been playing it for a little while now and I got bored quite quickly. Centre Core Hard Hitters, made by Midas Touch. I don't know if it's the same Midas that keeps cropping up. It has a slightly different logo, but it was made in 2002. It's got a real arcade feel, this one. All the music, the menu screen, the sound effects, it takes you straight back to the arcades. Not many options. It's got a basic tournament mode and an arcade mode, and you can play singles and doubles, and it seems to be completely crossed with male and female. They don't differentiate between the two. There's no real tennis players here. They're all made up, all generic in their names and their appearance. The guy on commentary has got a really thick English accent, which is a bit over the top, but it's actually quite nice to listen to. It's actually quite engaging. This is just like a tennis game you play in the arcades. It's got no real realism to it. You can pretty much play the whole game just by pressing the square button, which is the basic hit. The controls are okay, the movement's a bit difficult. Sometimes you try backtrack and he just doesn't seem want to go anywhere you're telling him to, and it's really hard to sort of steer the ball into the corners. They always seem to want to go down the middle, which is it's a bit annoying. If you want a retro tennis game, this one isn't too bad, but me personally, if I ever sit down and want to play a game of tennis on any console, I'm probably going to go for one that's got some real tennis players just for that bit of immersion, and the controls aren't fantastic. I've played far worse tennis games, but I've also played much better. I don't want to put this one back in the console after playing this the once. Captain Scarlet, released in 2006 by Blast. So this released later in the PS2 life cycle, and it is such a disappointment. I had such high hopes based on the nostalgia growing up with Captain Scarlet, and it was a real letdown. This game is just terrible. There's no other way of explaining it. I really wanted this to be... I didn't know what it was when I turned it on. A part of me was hoping for it to be some sort of RPG, but I don't even know what this is. It's just so bad. It starts off with like a racing game, but it's not. You're not racing against anything. The graphics in this are just terrible. The menu options are just absolutely atrocious. You can't read any of the text because it's all blurred. The color scheme is just bad. Like I say, it starts as like a racing game. The draw distance is just atrocious. The graphics don't look like they've even been finished. The car, which is the main focus, you can tell it's Captain Scarlet, but it's not fantastic. The next level, you're driving around shooting a tank. The controls are just ridiculous. You cannot control this car. It does not work. The game is clearly not finished, and it shouldn't have been released from what I can tell playing it so far. I have only been playing this game for about 20 minutes before I just decided it's just destroying my childhood and I don't want to play it anymore. It has been a long time since I put a game in a console thinking to myself, this is it, this is going to be great. I've been looking at this game for a while now. It's been quite high up my backlog list to get playing, and it's just, it's so disappointing. Do not pick up this game, especially if you have any nostalgia for Captain Scarlet, because it will just destroy it. Cartoon Network Racing, released by Game Factory in 2006. This is another one, massive nostalgia for me. I grew up with all the characters in this game and I've got real high hopes for it. It's a Mario Kart clone, of course it is. It's just got all the characters from all the shows that were playing on Cartoon Network at the time. It's got all the characters you'd want to see: Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, they're all here. It's got your basic options, your arcade, your exhibition, your tournament mode. You can unlock extra characters from all the different shows on Cartoon Network. There's a good mechanic of picking a main character, which the car is based around, that show, but then you can pick another character from a different show and they help with your power-ups. So you can cross different shows together. So you can have Johnny Bravo and Chicken from Cow and Chicken, or the Powerpuff Girls with Dee Dee, and it does mix it up a little bit. There's a couple combinations that I like to try. Once you actually get into the racing side of it, the actual gameplay, the cracks start to appear. It is, of course, like we say, a Mario Kart clone, but it's not got the Mario controls. The graphics on the background are not fantastic. The actual sprites are bearable. You can easily tell who you're supposed to be, but they're not great. The power-ups are just a copy and paste from all the other kart races you've ever played. You've got your oil slicks, you've got your rockets, you've got your boosters. There's nothing special added on top here. The courses are all based around different shows on the Cartoon Network, which is nice. You get a bit of nostalgia hit from them, so that's greatly appreciated. I think with this one, it's quite simply a case of it's not the greatest kart racer once you get into it, but there's plenty here to enjoy, especially if you were growing up around the time that these shows were out. There's masses and masses of nostalgia, and like I say, the gameplay's okay. It's just not fantastic. I'm pleasantly surprised with this one. I'll definitely be playing this one again. Brothers in Arms Earned in Blood from Ubisoft and Gearbox in 2005. This is one of those games I've been looking at and don't really know anything about it. I don't know how good it's supposed to be, but I know the Brothers in Arms series is quite fondly thought of, so I've got high hopes that this one's actually going to be half decent. Soon as you get into it, I realise I'm going to have to put more time into this than I usually am for these small reviews. It's very story heavy. The graphics haven't held up fantastic, but they're okay. The facial animations are a bit off, but the voice acting's fantastic. It's really engaging in regards to the story. The controls have a Medal of Honor feel as soon as you get going, similar in graphics as well to the PS2 Medal of Honor games, except they suddenly become a lot more strategic. You have to control your squadron and tell them where to go, what to do, where to concentrate their fire, whether to flank enemies or whether to charge them. It's a lot more strategic than what I thought it was going to be. It's not a run and gun game. You can't just charge your way in all guns blazing. That's not what this game is. I feel like if I was going to truly appreciate this game, I need to sit down, learn the mechanics, put some time into it and really appreciate how it is it wants you to go about getting from A to B. The whole thing is moved on very nicely with a compelling story. The story is very engaging. It makes you want to play the levels. I can see why the Brothers in Arms series is fondly thought of, and it does have a few different games under that series, but this one, I feel like if I'm really going to appreciate it, like I say, I am going to have to sit down and give it a go. It seems good. It looks like a good game, but just not one that's going to get a fair shake of the stick by just a quick review. So I think I'm definitely going to be keeping hold of this one and maybe later down the line sit down and give it the time that it looks like it deserves.